The Luitingh Alexander Musical Theatre Academy brings talent to our industry and the industry to our talent.
Our close links with producers, agents, artists, directors and choreographers ensures that our students are informed and connected.
These theatre heavyweights all started somewhere and have risen to the top of their game. He's considered one of the most formidable talents in the industry and was voted one of the West End's favourite leading men. As an award-winning actor, singer and recording artist, he's graced stages on both sides of the Atlantic, playing iconic roles such as Jean Valjean, Marius and Enjolras in Les Miserables, and Raoul and Phantom in Phantom of the Opera. He was handpicked by Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber to play Phantom in the sequel to Phantom of the Opera, Love Never Dies, and has just returned from playing Gleb in the Broadway premiere of Anastasia. We caught up with him in Tokyo to have a chat, and this is the LAMTA Lowdown with Ramin Karimloo.
What advice would you give to aspiring performing artists?
Well, I guess what advice I can give aspiring performing artists is I can go by my experience, and I came up from a non-traditional background, so I had to work extra hard, but I would go for it. Things I didn't know, I would go and seek it out. Libraries, I'd get actual books, and I'd look at people who I wanted to emulate. So let's say De Niro, Pacino, and I'd read interviews on them, and when they would talk about Stella Adler or Uta Hagen, I'd go get their acting books. So that's my main thing. I'd say be hungry for it and don't just wait for someone to give you the answer. You can go, the wealth of information is out there. And one thing I've learned recently is if you're uninspired, it's your fault. There's so many ways to stay inspired, whether it's watching a film, go to a museum, read a book, go out with friends. I think to be an all-around performer is to be an all-around human being.
What was the breakthrough moment in your career and what was the path that led to that?
I think the breakthrough, in a 3-year period, a lot happened for me very fast. But the first domino to go down, I guess it was, I want to say Love Never Dies, but while I was doing Love Never Dies, the 25th anniversary of Les Miserables happened. And I remember after that night, because it went live around the world as we did it, and I woke up, and I wasn't really into social media then, but it blew up. Tens of thousands, all of a sudden extra followers, like, what's happened? And then I got a huge amount of support, and sort of like, I felt this wave of support behind me. But Love Never Dies obviously was under massive spotlight for good and bad reasons, and although I love the show and I think the show is great and it's great to see it resurrected, but it was like Love Never Dies, Les Mis 25th, Phantom 25th. Those 3 things happened within an 18-month period.
Who has been a major role model to you?
A major role model, if I have to choose one, it's always going to be Colm Wilkinson, because he led me into what I love now and so many different other artists. But again, I think about it in a domino effect, and it would have been Colm. And I saw him as Phantom, and I remember what I loved about his voice was so unique and passionate, and so that led me to my exploration, my desire to learn and become what he was and what he is. So I'm going to give props to Colm for that.
Describe a day in the life of Ramin.
Okay, so if I'm in the West End, I'm living at home,
Yes.
I got my kids, so you get up, try and do breakfast with the kids, take them to school, see what Mandy, my wife, needs. Normal life, what I've learned is the more normal you try and keep yourself, the more humanity you bring to stage. And oddly now, because I tour so much, so that question is difficult to answer, because if I got a Broadway contract, my day is different. It's quite selfish, I guess, because they're not around, they live in England. A big gym session will definitely be part of that. That is my time. It's like therapy. It's my warm-up for the shows. If my body's not awake, my voice won't be awake. And again, I'm not one that does vocal warm-ups. I want physical warm-ups. And so some sort of physical activity in the gym. And also I got my circle of friends, our gym buddies, so that's our social time too. And then I just try and have a fulfilling day, whatever that is. If I need to rest, I'll rest. If I don't need to rest, I'll get on the Harley, ride around. But if I'm at home, you try and make happy wife, happy life.
What are the differences between working on Broadway and on the West End?
Effectively and creatively, it's one of the same. You get your good and bad. You get your inspired, uninspired. At the end of the day, it's actors are actors, people are people. Broadway has a sense of community like no other, and it's pretty amazing. You see a lot of extracurricular stuff that goes on with Broadway shows, where there's a softball team, a lot of fundraisers, a lot of organized events. So that's pretty amazing, and you feel like you're part of something. And although the West End is great, I got some great buddies in it, I think you have to make more of an effort to make things happen. With Broadway, there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of things to help people. You feel very supported there, so it's a great vibe. And in New York, it's a lot of people travel for the show, so you feel like you're part of something, again, that's got a ton of support from the country who come for the weekend, come for the week, and we gotta see a show, we gotta see a Broadway show. It's a thing to do.
What are the pros and cons about being in the musical theatre industry?
You know, it's hard to think about the cons because you're doing what you set out to do. So when you get tired, if you feel a little hard done by, or you feel like, what? If you're bored, then that's your fault. Don't be bored, because you asked for this job. Get inspired. That's, you know, people ask, how do you do the same thing every day? Well, how do you do the same thing every day for all your life with one job? We get a year-long contract, 6 months, 4 weeks. And the times where you feel creative laws, go watch a film. Do something that gets you inspired before a show. That's our job. That's our responsibility. And that's what you dreamt of doing. You know, as a kid, that's why, like, now, sometimes I get slack for my nonchalant about awards and nominations I've had. But as a kid, I didn't dream about being nominated for a Tony. I didn't dream about being nominated for Olivier. It's great, it's cool, I get to wear a nice suit. And I don't want to talk down, because that, again, it highlights these shows, generates interest. But I wanted to act, I wanted to be on the stage. So when I think about the cons, I quickly eliminate that. You know, the cons for me right now, I'm on the road a lot, so I don't see my family. That's tough, but I can't feel sorry about that. We chose to take the contract, so suck it up. You know, both me and my wife, when we talk about it, it's like, well, it sucks, but at the same time, it affords us a great life. You're creatively happy, and the light at the end of the tunnel is every time I go home, it's like a reunion, and it feels great. And there's so many pros, man. You're part of something really special. You're part of something that people work hard to come see. The money people spend to come see the shows, a lot of them, it's not easily done for them. So they're there willing you to do something amazing as well. But being an artist, it can't be clinical, it can't be academic, it's instinctive. I just think it's a high, it's a natural high, and it's a beautiful thing. So it's hard to think about the cons. And whatever cons there are, it's your job to get over them.
Popcorn questions. London or New York?
It's going to be incriminating, mate. I'll say London because that's where my kids are.
Phantom of the Opera or Love Never Dies?
I'm going to have to say the original because that's what's the first domino.
Twitter or Instagram?
Instagram.
Pre-show coffee or post-show drink?
Pre-show coffee.
Stage or screen?
Stage.
One-man show or ensemble show?
Ensemble show.
The Luitingh Alexander Musical Theatre Academy is located in the beautiful, newly renovated Theatre on the Bay in Camps Bay, South Africa. LAMTA welcomes any student who wishes to take up full-time training in the performing arts.